Good evening. Welcome to these sessions of question answers with our spiritual friend here, Dr. Peter Della Santina. As you know, in Buddhism, we are allowed to inquire, free inquiry on the truth, the Buddha's teachings, and also how to get the right understanding on Buddhism, and so on and so forth. So kindly make your question or doubts so that we can all hear and share about whatever the matter is. Don't be shy. It can be any question, any form of question that you feel is lingering in your mind, that is need to be answered. You know, somehow or rather, you need to be answered. You need to find a solution. And tonight, Dr. Peter Della is here. Is a very qualified teacher, which is been giving Buddhist talk for many years, and also visiting our centers in the past, introducing Buddhist curriculum in our Singapore schools. So please feel free to ask any question. Thank you.
Excuse me, Dr. Santina. I'm Goa. I just have a general question. We often hear people say a certain temple, when you go and pray, your wishes will be fulfilled, and some of these temples are so-called very powerful. So my question is it superstition, or is it because in that particular temple, they really have some deities and certain energies there? So could you please give us an answer?
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'd like to also thank all of you for staying back this evening. I hope I can be of some service. The gentleman just asked about the power of certain temples or images and so on to grant people's wishes and to respond to their prayers, and whether this is simply superstition or whether they really do have such powers. Well, I think that I should answer this question by reminding all of you of the Bodhisattva resolve and the prayer of the aspiring Bodhisattva. You may be familiar with the lines in the Bodhicharyavatara where Shantideva says, "May I become food for the hungry, shelter for the homeless, medicine for the ill," and so forth. So this is part of the resolution of a bodhisattva, of an aspiring bodhisattva, to benefit living beings, eventually to help them to attain liberation, but in the meantime also to help them with the material requirements that they may have. So when you have shrines, temples dedicated, for example, to Avalokiteshvara or to Amitabha or Tara and so forth, insofar as the energy, the resolve of those heavenly bodhisattvas, those celestial beings such as Avalokiteshvara, Tara and so forth, the power is invested, is present in some degree in those places of worship, and if one approaches them with respect, with reverence, and with a degree of positive virtue, a degree of deservedness, let us say, then it's possible that one's petitions will be answered by virtue of the power of this resolve. Again, in the Bodhisattva Shantideva says that just as a healer of snake venom can erect a pillar, and that pillar will have the power to heal snake venom, snake bite long after the master healer has passed on, so in the same way the Bodhisattva in his career toward Buddhahood creates a form, creates a body which has the power to liberate and to assist living beings even after the Bodhisattva has attained release. So the 10th level Bodhisattvas, or for that matter even the Buddhas, their activity for the benefit of living beings is automatic, spontaneous, so to speak. It's effortless. This is why the activities of 10th level Bodhisattvas and Buddhas, the activities of enlightened beings are said to be effortless and inconceivable. In another text, it says that in the same way that a wind chime gives off notes in response to the wind that strikes against it, so in the same way the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas respond to the needs of sentient beings naturally, without having to make any effort. They respond to the requirements of various sentient beings. And in this context, again, we need to remember that responding to the needs of sentient beings need not only mean, doesn't only mean responding to their, strictly speaking, spiritual needs, because sometimes people also need material benefits, and the Bodhisattvas and Buddhas are also prepared to bestow those material benefits if they will help sentient beings to aspire to spiritual attainment as well, and in due course. So, in conclusion, I think that such shrines do have powers to help us in our everyday life and to bestow certain blessings and certain benefits, even of a worldly nature. I don't think this is necessarily superstition. Certainly, one's mental attitude has got something to do with all such events, all such happenings, and at the end of the day it is ourselves who connect a visit to a temple to a certain benefit. We might choose not to connect it. Skeptical persons might choose not to connect it, might choose to regard it as simply a coincidence. A religious person will choose to see it as related, as being a question of cause and effect. That's a decision, that's a result of one's own mental choice, either to connect or not to connect a couple of events. But in general, the power to benefit practitioners, I think, does reside in these temples.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Mr. Tylers, may I fall back on the topic of ritual that you mentioned over Sunday? So if my understanding is correct, ritual in a way is being influenced by the culture and the lifestyle of the people in the country. So in these Tibetan traditions, in the daily practices, you will see that they use a lot of musical instruments like the bell, the conch shell, the cymbals. So is this the traditions, is these rituals being practiced by the influence of culture, or is this being passed out by the Buddha?
These elements are essentially both. Let me put it this way. By and large, these are cultural elements, but they're cultural elements that the Buddha, for the most part, also was familiar with and also utilized, also referred to. For example, you mentioned the conch shell. The conch shell has been used for thousands of years in India. It is part of Indian culture. But Indian culture was also part of the Buddha's means of expression.